Welcome to 30 Frames a Second, and I'm your host, Greg Lassiter, and we have a great show for you. We'll be right back with it.
Into the fact where the victim is now the perpetrator and the perpetrator is now the victim. And that just drives me crazy.
Welcome to 30 Frames a Second. I can't tell you, my guest this week is probably one of the most amazing young entrepreneurs I've ever met. He is the CEO of a company called Groggle. Welcome, Kenny H. How are you, man?
How you feeling, brother?
Brother, I am great. Thank you for being on the show today.
Anytime.
Kenny, I'm looking at your resume. It is long, it is extensive, it is unbelievable. But most importantly, you're doing things that young black kids aren't doing. Not that I'm calling you a kid. You developed an app called Groggle. Before we get into Groggle, tell me a little bit about your background. Tell my viewers about your background.
Well, I graduated 2004 with my BA in Business Management Administration, minor in Mass Media Communication. So I have a fair, small sense of knowledge of everything that was going on before I got into it.
Okay.
I graduated from Mount St. Mary College, went to Cardinal Hayes High School, up Hayes and all his lawyer men.
Okay.
And from there, we took off.
Wow.
We learned the hard work from high school. We wore the shirts and ties coming up.
Right.
I'm from the Bronx.
Right.
So that stickler of you can't make it, you can't get out, we don't believe in that. We started that young.
Man, because you're actually doing it. You had this fascination. Was it the fascination of being a businessman or being a music person, a music executive, music DJ? How did you see yourself? Where did you see yourself coming up?
I mean, at 17, I was more into sports.
Right.
Everything was basketball. You know, I didn't play high school ball, but I wound up playing college basketball. So everything was sports at one point in time, and I don't think it was till I transferred colleges that I started getting into music. Now, I come from a long line of DJs and people playing in the park and, you know, that type of thing, but I never looked at it as music. My dad was already into the music business heavy at the time. I didn't see myself getting into it. I did one party for a good friend of mine, Michael Seabrook. We did a birthday party in the dorm. And from there, I grew, the love of music grew on me after that.
Right.
So I jumped head in first. I started DJing. I love the fact of I can make people smile, enjoy themselves, and have a great time under my power.
Right.
And that just opened up a door of everything else.
Right. Now, I don't know if this is your MC name or your DJ name. You call yourself Get Right, the real Get Right. Explain that. How did that come about?
Get Right was DJ Get Right.
DJ Get Right.
I didn't feel like people took my business knowledge, my business sense serious.
Right.
So I wound up dropping the DJ from Get Right, and I kept it. Now, why I call myself the real Get Right is because after I solidified myself as Get Right, all of a sudden there's like 1,000 Get Rights. DJ Get Rights and every other thing that you can imagine.
Right. So now let's get to your company, Groggle. And that right there is most amazing. Groggle, that just took me by storm. Now, you're still into music management, correct?
Correct.
Now, when you say music management, are you managing artists, producing, what?
At one point when we first started, we managed strictly artists.
Okay.
After about 2 years, we realized this wasn't the only lane that we wanted to take on. So we actually started managing motivational speakers. We started managing R&B singers because it was just rap artists at one point in time.
Right.
So we opened up the floodgates to manage, you know, anybody that is willing to be managed and needed a little assistance on getting themselves out there.
But you also got some Grammy credits, huh?
Yeah, well, we didn't win.
But you were nominated.
They got
you showed up at the party.
They got us in the door a little bit. Shout out to Far-Fetched. He did a song called The Cure for Voices Against Brain Cancer. They used it as their theme song, and that kind of pushed us in that door.
Okay, now, which plateaued you into the film industry. You were also, you're a film director. What do you call yourself? Because I understand that you did a documentary debut.
We dibble and dabble on everything.
Right. Okay.
So we did something for the People's Film Festival their first year out the gate called Strangers. My brother and I, it was great. It was a great little 8-minute segment.
I was the MC.
Yeah, it was a great little 8-minute segment.
Right.
And from there, we kind of went into putting together a show called After Hours.
Okay.
Inside of Harlem Lanes when it was open with my dad, Les Love, and Sharon, the lady that owned Harlem Lanes at the time. So we're still working on that. That's a pretty decent piece of work.
Which segues me, I can't even talk today, segues me to Groggle Me. That I want you to tell my viewers about. We're going to have an extensive conversation
about
Groggle Me. Tell me about Groggle Me.
Well,
tell everybody about Groggle Me.
Groggle is actually the acronym.
Right.
So when I was a DJ, people had this funny little joke that they used to say to me, which was, "Oh, your name is Get Right." So people used to come up to me and go, "Oh, well, Can't Get Right" from the movie Life.
Right.
I don't have a problem with that.
Right.
I took that and actually twisted it into Get Right or Get Left.
Right.
That was the acronym for Groggle Me. So I used
Really?
to Groggle at the time. There was no me on it.
Right.
So everything was just Groggle. Now, fast forward to when I get the artist, we started to say Groggle Me, which was like a form of come find me. This is how you can find me by groggling me.
Right.
You know, not to play off of Google, but something similar.
Right, sure.
And we had that going, but we had no full turnaround. So we can go Groggle Me. But in all actuality, there was nothing there
to Groggle.
After saying there was nothing there to Groggle at the time.
Like I tell people, Google me.
Right, and they can go to Google and find you.
But Groggle Me.
After sitting down and having a conversation with my partner, Steve Stantz, who Black Cannon, we sat there and said, we have to come up with this all in. It has to finally surface somewhere.
Right.
And that's when we developed the app. So now when you say Groggle Me, you can actually go to the app and find these people or find these things.
Now, what did it take to become, like, because in that sense, you're a smaller version of Google, if I may.
Very tiny version of Google.
But, okay, but still, but you know what? It's clever that you can tell people, I don't even carry business cards anymore. I want to go tell people now, Groggle Me. Now, how did that application come about? Like, I know when you Google somebody, you put in meta tags and stuff like that. How does Groggle work? Well,
I got a call from a great friend of mine, Troy Gibson. And anybody that knows me knows I don't fear knowledge.
Right.
So he calls me, he said, I have something I think you'd be interested in. Now, I don't really design, but I have the market to put together an app.
Right.
He gave me a code. He said, go check it out. And 2 hours later, we had an app.
Really? So now, how does one go about getting into, like, you know, Groggle? I want people to Groggle Greg Lassiter. Groggle Greg Lassiter. All right. Now, if you Groggled me now, how does that work? Like Google, if I put my name in enough, and I got my people Googling me every day, I got the first 5 pages of Google. How can one become the first 5 pages of Groggle?
What we do is, you get on the Groggle Me app. You go to iTunes, you go to Android Market. We're in both.
Right.
You go to the Google Play Store, you download the app.
Okay.
You find it amusing, you find it great, you want to get involved. You go to the submission tab, you submit whatever it is, whether you're a small business, whether you're into music, whether it's your video, it comes to us, we upload it. No charge. We don't charge anybody anything. And you go on the app, you are now there. You have been Groggled.
That is impressive. Now, this is what I love, a young African American doing his thing. And you're humble. You're like your father. I know your father. He's probably one of the most humble gentlemen. The apple doesn't fall too far from the tree.
Not at all.
Now, how does Groggle make their money?
Well, now, after the app is out, after everything was said and done, we decided to dabble into the clothing game.
Wow.
So the way to fund our app or to fund everything else is by merchandising.
Right.
So we have Groggle Me, the actual clothing line.
Really?
Under Groggle Apparel.
So what can you buy at Groggle Me? What can you buy? What kind of apparel can you buy at Groggle?
At this time, you can buy anything you want because we've just started to do custom clothing.
Wow.
So it's more so intertwined. Like if anybody doesn't know, the ME stands for marketing, everything, everyone, everywhere.
Wow.
So we took on a responsibility to help market everybody around us.
That is genius. That is genius. how many, like, your whole marketing team, how, what we talked about earlier is that your generation is lost. You're one of the few guys that are doing, entrepreneurs that are doing something. How did you get to this point?
I think it was all listening. I was always around older people. Mm-hmm. At the age of 26, I was probably one of the biggest party promoters in New York City. Mm-hmm. And the guy that led me, he was at the time maybe 38, 39. I was 26, 27. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't just him, but any situation I've ever gotten, I listened. And I think there's a fear of listening and learning with people in my generation.
Well, guys my age usually say there's a disconnect between your generation and my generation. I'm not seeing that disconnect. I'm seeing the disconnect between your generation and someone younger than you. Like, so you're 32. I see the disconnect between you and a 25-year-old. Why is that?
Absolutely. The disconnect is beyond what we all think. And it's just a matter of fear. Everyone fears, I feel like everyone fears to be themselves to these younger kids. They have to be this cool guy. I have to be the guy in the corner. I have to be the one throwing up the gang signs. I have to be that, or no one is going to think of me as a role model, which is absolutely false.
Right.
Like, you can do great things. You can do good things. You can lead these younger kids to the promised land and still be cool. Look, I'm doing it.
Right, and you're cool.
I feel like I'm cool.
Yeah, you're very cool. But let me ask you, though, so when you go back, say you have a 25-year-old music producer, because you still have that bad boy, that P. Diddy, I'm not stopping until I get it done. And that's what made P. Diddy who he is. He doesn't stop. Now, how do you connect to someone younger? And I say younger, we're talking between the ages of 18 and 30. How do you connect to them?
I think it's more so what you say and what you do. A lot of people have this notion of saying things to these young kids, and they don't go out there and do it.
So, I'm not to cut you off, do you attribute that age group to be lazy? What is your feeling about that?
I think they weren't taught hard work at all. Right. I think that's what my generation lacked to teach them. Like, they see us and anybody in our generation that's actually making it right now, and they just believe that it took no work to get there. Right. Oh, just one day we woke up and we were here.
Right.
They didn't see the hard work. They didn't see the struggle. They didn't see the dedication. They didn't see the time that we put in. They just see that we're here. And nobody in my generation actually tells this story, because once they get there, they're too busy trying to remain cool in their eyes to, stay in that lane. Do you find
it important, being that you're still growing and you're on the move, to reach back and help the younger generation? You have to.
You have to every day. There's not a day that I don't go by and I might breeze through somebody's Instagram or somebody's Facebook, and if I see something wrong, hey, what are you doing? What's going on?
Right.
You can't be afraid. Even if you made certain mistakes, you're supposed to be out here telling them, I did that, don't do that.
But what do you say to the youngster that has your talent, that still want to be a gangster, still want to go out and do the wrong thing instead of the right thing? Because you see that there's so much talent in the world of African Americans, and I'm speaking only on African Americans, because it's very rare to see a young African American that's articulate, that are doing things instead of saying they're going to do things. What would you tell that kid that's on the corner selling drugs, that's 25 years old? Because if you notice, if you're selling drugs and you're good at it, you just got to change the product.
Yeah. Well, I have this thing where I go left, right, center. Now, I tell any teen that I know, any young person coming up, whether they're talented or not, you can't go left, right. There's only a center.
Right.
You can be good one day and bad the next, but you'll never walk that middle path because you're always too busy going left, right, center.
Right.
You have to just go center and stay center. There's nothing wrong with going straight.
Right.
But going left or right, that'll get you in a bad place that you don't want to be in.
Right.
Because some of those days where you're going left and some of those days where you're going right, they're going to intertwine.
Right.
It's going to catch up to you sooner or later.
Right.
But if you stay straight, you're clear.
Now, you know how most businesses like Google or any of these guys, how did you guys were just sitting around one day and, like some businesses have came out of a garage. What is your story? If we're sitting here, you're inspiring. We got a lot of viewers. How did your Groggle or all this even come to fruition? It's just you guys were sitting around and was just like drinking. What you know what I mean?
You got to dream.
Right.
You have to dream, and we have this saying that things might not happen when you want them to happen or how you want them to happen, but they will happen.
Right.
So in communication, we let out our dreams. I talk to my partners all the time, and we talk about things that we would like to do, things we've dreamt about doing, and in the process of talking about it, we wind up actually doing them. But you have a fluctuation of people that they don't even have these conversations.
Right.
They don't even have these dreams. They'll never let you know. They'll meet you, hey, Greg, what's going on? And you ask them, what do you want to do in the next 5 years? And they go, I want to be rich. How are you going to get rich?
Right.
They have no clue.
Right, right. They just want, see, that, I think that stems from instant gratification. And I think.
No such thing.
I agree with you. And I think your generation is that generation that wants instant gratification. How did you get around that? You know, I guess you hung out with older cats, or you, your father said there's no such thing as, like, everybody's like, I've talked to people like, I want to be rich. I got rich overnight. Well, overnight could have been 30 years. So instant gratification, does it work? Doesn't it work?
Doesn't. Never does. I'm going to tell you a funny story. I had to be about maybe 8 or 9. We lived in, at this time, we were living in Castle Hill Projects in the Bronx, New York. And I woke up every day to a picture of an old, they call it the Dr. Mercedes. And it was on the wall, a painting. Now, at this time, nobody's driving Mercedes in the projects.
Right.
So my dad is like, yeah, I'm going to get that one day. And I'm looking at him like, no, you're not. You're crazy. Like, that's not going to happen.
Right.
But through that hard work and dedication, at 17, he pulls up
In a Mercedes.
in a Mercedes.
Right. Because you had the dream.
You had to dream.
You have to dream.
Yeah, and you had to work hard to get it. And I didn't see that happen overnight. I seen that happen over a course of 10 years.
Right.
Over the Maxima and over this car and over that car
Right,
and over
right.
maybe not even having a car
Right.
until he met his goal.
Right, right,
So
right.
the instant gratification thing for me at a young age, it was out the window.
Wow.
I didn't see anyone just get something like that. You know, we come from the project. So even if you've seen a Jay-Z or a P. Diddy or anybody like that, looking at how their process began and the old drug tales and everything else,
Right.
even that didn't happen overnight.
Right, right.
You know, so
So who were some of your inspirations growing up to make you become the person that you did? Some of, you know, I know you're going to say your father, but some of the people that have made it, tell me who they are and why they are.
one, I'm going to say Mr. Ronald Parker. He was actually my dad's supervisor growing up at New York City Housing Authority, and I spent countless hours around him, watching him supervise and do things of that nature. And his heart and dedication just turned me around at a young age. Like, I knew at some point I wanted to help people and do certain things.
Right.
That's one guy. I want to say one of my close uncles, my Uncle Reynard, he taught me at a young age, the world is about everybody else. You know, keep people loving you. It's not just about you.
Right.
So I took that and I ran with that.
When you say keep people loving you, expatiate upon that. Keep people, that's a great tagline. Keep people loving you. I may take that from you.
In the beginning of the show, you called me humble.
Right.
Everyone loves a humble person. No matter how good you are, no matter how great you are, no matter how much money you got, what kind of car you drive, everyone likes to feel like they're special, they're important, and they're loved. And at any given time, anybody that knows me, I treat everyone accordingly. Some people call that my flaw.
Right.
You treat everybody the same. You treat everybody like they're deserving of,
Right.
you know, and I just feel like they are. And keeping people to love you is just that.
Okay.
You treat people like they deserve to be treated.
Yes, but you know, I noticed that you didn't say any famous people that you look up to.
I mean, I've never been starstruck.
Right.
I look at famous people as myself, as my dad, as my mom, as my cousins, as the famous tag is just the end result of hard work.
Right.
Any hard-working person can be famous.
Right, right.
So
right.
I don't look at them as, oh, that's him. He's worth $400 million. Okay, that's fine. He worked to get it.
Right.
He worked hard to get it. He's just an average walking soul, pump the same blood, drink the same water, and eat the same food.
Right.
So,
right.
I mean, we're famous.
Right.
So
right.
that's how I look at it.
Now, let me ask you, let's flip it. Who is it that you don't like? You see what I'm saying? As a businessman, you know, because we always talk about the good, how you look up to certain people and how you make it. Now, who is it that I hate to put you on the spot, but who is it that you don't look up to or who you stay away from and why? And the reason I say that before you answer that, Kenny, is that we always talk about who makes us. Mm-hmm. But the same people that you try to stay away from also gives you strength because you don't want to be like that.
I mean, if I had to say anybody, it would just be people that don't learn from their mistakes. I don't have any names that I can specifically say, but if I'm watching someone and they're making the same mistake over and over and over again, these are the type of people that I stay away from.
Right.
So, and in hindsight, let's just call a celebrity out. Let's say Lindsay Lohan. She would be a person that I would stay away from.
Right.
Someone that keeps making the same mistake over
Right.
and over and over again and not learning from their mistakes.
That's the definition of insanity, right?
Yeah, that would be the person that I stay away
Right.
from.
So now, Groggle, me.
Yes, sir.
In 5 years, where do you see yourself? Where before you answer that, audience, you're going to call in and you can ask this guy any question you want, and I welcome your calls, and we'll put it up shortly. But 5 years. Now, I'm asking you, what's your 5-year plan?
5-year plan is to continue to grow Groggle Me, the brand, into a Google Me.
Right.
Into a Google Me. Google Me is not even a company, but into a Google. You know, we have a lot of things on the plate right now. In 5 years, I think my main goal is to push this animated film that I have, along with my dad and his partners, Shaw Sykes, and the new Cat City thing. I would love to see that on the big screen. That'll be my 5-year plan.
What is that? You just sprung that on me. What is this animated project? I've heard this. Your dad has mentioned to this about a year ago, and we were supposed to get together and talk. What is tell my viewers what the animated? Is it documentary?
It's an animated film about real life situation, but it's shown through characters of a cartoon, and it's about a female cat who's in the music business trying to find her way through, and so I don't want to give it away, but certain things happen the same way they happen in real life stories.
Really?
And it kind of knocks her down, but she gets back up. So.
Oh, it's a female?
Yeah, it's a female.
Okay.
Female is the main character, and I would love to see that happen for my father and his team on that end. So that would be my 5-year plan.
Can you tell me what the name? Can you tell us what the name?
It's New Cat City.
New Cat City.
Yeah.
Based in New York.
Based in New York.
Now let me ask you this: Google comes along. This is your baby. Groggle is your baby. Google comes along, and they say, "Okay, Kenneth H, I'm gonna give you $1 billion for it. Would you sell it?"
Gone.
Gone.
My brain works. I tell people that all the time.
Really?
I have probably another 50 to 60 projects in the back of my head sitting here right now.
So you wouldn't have any problem selling it?
If the number's right,
Right.
and we speak about how it's going to be controlled after it's sold, because I don't want it to be sold and then it just falls off the earth.
Right.
Because that's what they do with a lot of things.
Right.
If they're going to push it and they're going to keep it in some form of Google,
Right.
I don't have a problem with that.
Really, really. So now, Groggle Me, the apparel, you guys are constantly working 24 hours a day to develop this brand. So you're basically, I thought I was a brand guru, but you're a young cat that you are the brand guru. I've learned something from you. Branding, when you're branding Groggle,
We like that. We like that mix up.
When you're branding Groggle, what are some of the things that you think about when you brand Groggle?
1, maturity in the company. 2, practice what you preach. You can't sit there and say, well, this is how we perceive society, and then turn around and do it the other way.
Right.
3, consistency, day in and day out. There can't be a day where there's just nothing going on.
Right.
That can't happen. And the most important part of branding is knowing yourself, because yourself is equivalent to your company.
That's correct. That is
So
correct.
the way you portray yourself in the street or in an interview or anywhere else you go, that's what you show your company. Today, I'm in a blazer. You wouldn't catch me probably in a regular day in a blazer, but
Really?
I'm not gonna get on TV
Right.
and come on with my Groggle Me hat and
Right.
a Groggle Me T-shirt. It doesn't happen that way.
Right. So all your partners, what is your tagline for your company? What is your mission for your company? Because you're speaking for all your partners in front of 1 million people right now. What would be your tagline for Groggle?
Our tagline is get right or get left.
Get right or get left.
There's only one way to do things. That's the right way. Do them the wrong way, you wind up left behind.
Right. So you guys have a logo, the whole 9 yards. How do we get a hold of it? How can one get Groggle? Like get a hold of Groggle?
You have to remember, the same way Facebook did it, the same way Twitter did it, the same way Google did it, we created a word that wasn't in the atmosphere. So if you actually Google Groggle or Groggle me, we're the only ones with that name.
That's awesome.
There's not going to come up with 10, 15 pages that you have to filter through to find us. So we're pretty simple to find. You can go to your iTunes, you can find it. You can go to your Google Play, you can find it. Even if you grogglemE.com, groggleapparel.com, we kind of cover those bases.
Right. What is the day in the life of Kenneth H? When you wake up in the morning, what is it? How does your day start as a young entrepreneur? Because see, the reason I'm asking you that, because the viewers, the young guys, the young women that are watching you, I think you have to have consistency and you have to have a mission. What is the day in the life of Kenneth H?
Typically, a day in the life is about 7:30. I hear the alarm. I peek up, look for my daughter, make sure they all getting ready for school. One is in high school, the other one is going to one of my daycares.
Right.
So
we're going to get to that too.
After that's all said and done, they're out. I get up, and I'm an internet junkie just like everybody else. I'm a social media junkie. I open my eyes. I begin branding. Before I brush my teeth, I begin branding. What am I going to put up at 8:30, between 8:30 and 9 o'clock on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter to let them know that I'm up from the day and I'm working. Whether it was from something from last night, this morning, what am I going to do? So by 8 o'clock, 8:30, I have my post up. In the midst of me getting my post, I start getting to my daily tasks. If I have to do the clothing, if I have to run to the post office to get things out, if I have to call my partner in the morning to make sure he's on his way to work, we chop it up for a few minutes to figure out what exactly we want to get done for the day. By 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, we in full motion, full swing.
And that goes until when?
That goes until about 12 o'clock midnight.
Wow. You do this 7 days a week, 6 days a week?
I just recently put a schedule together that said I was going to stop working on Sunday, but it's impossible.
But
not while you're branding yourself is impossible.
Right. So which leads me to the next subject. You also own 2 daycare centers.
Yes, sir.
How did that even come about? You are a straight businessman.
I work with kids since my first job was with the New York City Housing Authority. So I worked with kids since 1999, I want to say. And I came home from college, and I was actually doing a physical therapy thing. I was doing a party promotion thing. But there's a space in your heart that doesn't get filled if there's no kids around. I didn't have kids at the time. So I wound up going back to the New York City Housing Authority in 2008. I was one of the first class that got laid off. Last hire, first fire. Could have crushed anybody. Because there's no reason for you to lay me off or fire me. Absolutely none. I'm more qualified than half of the people that were there at the time. Didn't make a difference. I was the last one to get hired, the first one to go. So I went to another company called Phipps. Wound up getting laid off from there for budget cuts. At this time, now I'm stuck. What am I going to do? So I speak to my lady. She actually had a daycare in the home at the time. Maybe about 3 kids, 2 staff, and I had this idea to start a club.
Well, like what kind of club?
Like a club in the street. Music club,
a
dance club. And things didn't work out. I had the financial back at the time. I went to check out a few locations, and they didn't work out. So I went home, and I was sitting there one day, and it just hit me. I said, why don't we take my idea and the idea that you have as a daycare, merge them, and we can call it Baby Lounge. We set it up just like a lounge.
So let me get this right. You took the idea of a nightclub and merged it with the daycare center and called it Baby Lounge. So when the parents drop off their kids, they're like hanging out, lounging.
They love it.
They have everything but alcohol.
They have a small bar where they have their lunch and everything. And I don't drink. So I used to get this all the time, and they used to go, what are you going to tell the parents when they come and ask you, why is there a bar here? I said, well, I'm going to tell the parents that I'm training them to think the way I do. I don't drink. But that doesn't necessarily mean that I can't go inside the bar and have a good time. There's water, there's juice, there's food, there's appetizers. That's what a bar is. It doesn't have to be equivalated with just alcohol. So from the age of 2, these kids will know a bar to them would mean juice and food. It will not mean alcohol.
Wow.
So you train their minds young.
That's impressive. And you have 2.
We have two.
Where do you see that going? What is the name of that, by the way?
They're both Baby Lounge.
Baby Lounge.
Baby Lounge
in New York
daycare.
City.
New York City, both
Baby
located in
Lounge
Brooklyn.
in New York City. What's the age group that you can get in?
We have one from 6 weeks to 2 years old. When they finish that, they go to the other from 2 years old to 6. From there, they come back to the house for after school. So we have them at least till they're 12 years old.
Wow, wow. How do you see that going? Where do you have time? There's only 24 hours in a day.
Well, I have great people. People don't understand this. They always look at me, and I get this all the time. And the people always tell me, "Well, you're moving too fast. You're doing too much." It's no such thing.
Okay.
I surround myself with great people, great partners, in every aspect of everything that I do. Where there's the clothing line, I have my brother and I have Black Cannon.
Right.
Where there was the music, I had my dad and his partner, Shaw Sykes.
Right.
Where there's the daycare, I have my lady and her sister as partners. So everything I do, I have great partners that makes the wheel go round.
Right.
Because there's
No way you can do it all.
There's no way you can do not even one thing by yourself.
Right. What if you had to do anything now? If you had to step outside your box and you had a dream, you always have dreams.
Mm-hmm.
If you could dream of something other than what you're doing, what would it be? What would be something far-fetched that you would do?
Something far-fetched, and I'm just thinking about this right now. I would say, give me my own island and let me run it.
Dude, please explain that one.
I mean, I believe.
That's just like having your own country.
Yeah, I believe I can do it.
The infrastructure, you put the infrastructure together.
I'm truthful to myself. I'm truthful to others. And I believe that's the one thing that you have to have in order to see the future.
Right.
You can't sit there and go, well, I don't know why this happened, or I don't know why this happened.
Right, right.
There's actions, there's consequences.
Right,
There's
sure.
right and there's wrong.
Right.
And if you can get that inside the minds of others, because the one thing I believe everybody has a problem with is fearing themselves and understanding themselves.
Right.
Understanding why they do certain things, why they say certain things, why they act certain ways. You have once you understand that, I believe you can be one of the greats.
What's your fear?
Probably the only fear I have is death. Not because I don't believe in God, because I do, but I just love my life so much and everyone in it. I don't want to go no time soon.
So you're pretty much fearless.
Pretty much.
Right.
Pretty much. I do not fear failure.
Right.
There's only one way to beat a failure, and that's to try.
But you failed. In order to be successful,
We fail at plenty of things. I
Right.
failed tests in my life. I
Right.
failed and I look at myself in athletics. I believe I could have been one of the greats in sports, but I didn't love the sport enough. I didn't put in
What
enough.
sport was that?
It was basketball.
Basketball, okay.
I didn't put in enough hard work and dedication, so I believe I failed myself at that. But you bounce back.
Right.
You're going to fail.
Right.
Even only you can judge success. Only you can tell yourself whether you're successful or not. Nobody else can tell you that.
Right.
Because
Right.
you make your own goals.
Right.
So if you sit here and go, well, my goal is to have $100,000 by the end of the year.
Right.
And you have $50,000 at the end of the year. Someone like you might come and say, well, you did damn good for the year.
Right. Right.
But to yourself, you failed.
Right. Right.
So only you can judge yourself when it comes to success and failure.
Give me your definition of success for you.
For me, my definition of success would be being able to afford great health.
Great
and
health, as in.
for my family.
Okay.
Meaning no one has to worry about health care.
Okay.
That would never be an issue.
Right. Do you worry about health care now?
No.
No. Okay.
No, I don't worry about it now. For myself, no.
Right.
For some people in my family, yeah, it's times get a little rough.
Right.
Like I've always said, I would never want to be one of those people that can afford it and sit around and have maybe a first cousin that's still living horribly.
Right.
To me, there's no way you can be worth $400 million and your first cousin is still living over here. Now, you can't take everybody with you,
Correct.
but you can make sure a lot of people are comfortable with it, that you can afford that.
Right.
So
right,
I think
right.
that would be more so success for me, is to
Right.
be able to just take care of as much as I can.
Material things. Where's your position on material things?
I think outside looking in, people believe that I value them more than I do.
Why is that?
I drive a CLS 550.
Okay.
I've always had nice clothes, but at the same token, it doesn't matter to me.
Right.
Even when I had a car that was only worth $11,000, people thought it was worth $50,000.
Right.
Because the way you walk and the way you talk is what you portray yourself to be to the world.
Okay. I think we have a call. We
Okay.
are going to take this call.
No problem.
I'm sure you're going to have a lot of calls. Okay, caller, go ahead. You're on 30 frames a second.
What's going on? What's going on is H Imperial. I wanted to give a big shout out to Get Right because he is definitely.
We can't hear you. Can you speak up just a little bit?
Yeah, I wanted to give a shout out to Get Right because he's definitely.
Oh, I think you got disconnected. Can you call us back? Someone. So, is there a dollar amount that you consider yourself successful?
No.
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 No. Not at all.
Not at all.
No. If you could give any advice to any young kids coming up, if you had to give a young Kenneth H, what would you say? What would be the number one thing you would tell them?
Chase the learning experience.
What does that mean? I know what it means. What does that mean, chase the learning experience?
There's plenty of people that get stuck on, I can't do this because of money.
Right.
If you learn how to make that money, or if you learn other ways to make the money,
Right.
you can get things done.
Right.
There's grants, there's scholarships, there's this, there's that, but you don't even take the time to actually learn about these things or find these things to be able to make yourself successful.
Right.
Certain
Right.
people just don't do it.
Right. Now, Groggle me out. Is that call back yet? I think the call is back. Did we get that call yet?
Hello?
Yes, you're there. Go ahead, caller.
Oh, what's going on? Yeah. I wanted to give a shout out to Get Right because he's definitely an inspiration to the brothers out here. I worked with him a couple of times. My name is H Imperial, do a little film work and stuff, and he's definitely a cool brother, man. I wanted to show my support and let him know, man, keep doing his thing.
There you go. Thank you for calling. Now, I see you have a lot of followers. I just checked out your Facebook, your Instagram. Dude, I got 5,000. You're just, I love it. Now, Groggle, I'm still so fascinated by Groggle, because now that's my new one, Groggle me. I can't wait to have my people.
We love it. We love it.
My people, if you're listening to me, Groggle me. I need that app, Groggle me. Now, groggling, that is like, you don't think Google, because it's so close to Google. Did you have any problems from the Google people?
Not as of yet. I don't think we can have any problems because we actually trademarked.
Right.
We did everything that we had to do legally.
Right.
I believe as long as we keep it positive and keep it towards marketing, people that's trying to do something good or great in life.
Right.
Nobody should have a problem with it.
Right. So, your whole marketing behind Groggle, though, like, it's like a search engine.
Somewhat of the sort. It's not really a search engine. It's more so as we wanted to get out there and help the people that didn't know how to market.
Right.
Like, I believe in the urban culture, like we said, there's so many talented young fellas, there's so many talented young ladies, even older, they just do not have a clue on how to start. Right. And I believe this is giving them their start.
Why didn't you go to be a search engine as well as what you're doing? Did that ever, you see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Did that ever come about?
I don't think it was more so, I believe Google works.
Right.
And we never wanted to take anything away from Google or to become their competition. We just wanted to put something inside of Google that stood out for us.
Correct.
Because you have this World Wide Web that has Google and it has Bing and it has Yahoo, right. And everybody and their mother can go on there and search, but in that search you kind of get lost inside.
Now that which takes me back. Groggle, even though it's not a search engine, what can you actually find on Groggle? Do you understand what I'm saying?
You can come inside of Groggle and search through our tabs.
Okay.
So it is some form of a search engine, but it's not just a search engine. So you can, if you're an artist, your music, your mixtapes, your songs, your iTunes link, your videos. If you're a small business, we have a small business section. You can put your small business section in there. People can go on there, click. They go to your website. They can call you directly from the app.
Right.
They can email you directly from the app.
Really?
So we have a small business.
Now, can you join? Can I join Groggle and have a Groggle email address? Do you have that yet?
We don't personalize it for everyone.
Okay.
Then we would need to be somewhat of a Google because then we would need a search engine. I mean, not a search engine, a huge server to hold all the information as far as personal information.
Do you see Groggle going that way?
I see it going that way eventually down the line.
Right.
Once we can get everything together as far as a stickler of a household name,
right,
then we can go into that lane.
You know what I never asked you? How long has Groggle been around?
It hasn't even been a year yet.
No.
It hasn't been a year. We started last July.
Wow. So I take it you guys are having a big party?
we're hoping, we're planning, we're hoping to have. We don't want to do a party because I've came from that lane so many times.
Right.
And it's so hard for people to understand that you're giving back when you're doing a party.
Right.
So we actually wanted to have maybe like a barbecue or something of that thing where you can bring the kids, you can bring the family, you can bring a whole family structure
So
into it.
Groggle is pretty much a family-oriented company.
Definitely. We there's no age on entertainment.
Right. Wow.
You have your Patti LaBelle's and you have your 3-year-old kids that's singing in the shower right now.
Right.
There's no age on this thing. So we like to kind of pull in all forms of entertainment and business, no matter what age it is.
Wow. Wow. Do you play an instrument?
No.
No? For a guy who's been in music, you've done a lot of things you don't play. Can you sing?
No. There's a couple things I can't do. One is swim.
You can't? Come on.
And everybody always gets, I can do everything
Come on.
under the sun.
Are you afraid of water?
I almost drowned when I was younger.
Oh, that's why you don't swim.
So that's why
Did you ever think about taking swimming lessons?
Yeah, I actually did. I'm supposed to go this summer with my daughter because she wasn't old enough to go last year.
Right.
So she turned 2, so we're supposed to take swimming lessons together. And I know I can't be a chump in front of her. She's only 2, so I got to man up and make it happen.
I think we do have a caller. Caller, you're on the line. Do we have calls? No? Okay. That is crazy. I would never think that you would not know how to swim.
Never learned. Even before then, I didn't learn.
Okay, what else? What else can't you do?
No instruments, can't sing. Musically talented, not
you're
me.
businessman, but you're businessman.
Air-wise, I'm great. Like
Right.
I can
You can
tell
hear.
great music. I can hear it.
Right.
I know it.
Right.
But actually playing it,
Right.
can't do it.
You're a young cat. What do you think of rap music?
Today,
Yes.
rap, I don't want to say rap is terrible. Rap has become a place of wannabe,
What do you mean by that?
which most artists want to be like somebody else.
Right. There's no originality.
There's no originality anymore. Everybody's scared to take that chance of, let me do this and see if they like me. Before they do this and see if they like me, they start rapping like everybody else. And it's the same thing with DJs and music and everything else. Because even at one point of a time, I played a lot of like Baltimore music in New York or in New Jersey.
Right.
And upstate New York. And they used to be like, what is this?
Right.
But by the time the third party came around, that's my song. It became from what is this to that's my song because I wasn't scared to put
Try to
something
do
new
something
in front
Right.
of people.
Wow.
So I believe that's what it is with rap. People are just, they're scared to be them because they believe if I do what everybody else is doing, I'm going to win and it's going to make me successful. And that's not the truth all the time.
That's never the truth for the most part. Right. So what do you do to relax?
Think.
Come on.
I think, like, I love to communicate, so I'm typically running up my phone bill 6,000, 7,000 minutes a month.
Right.
So I'm always on the phone. I'm always helping other people. I guess that's where I get. When I'm not working for myself, I feel like I can help somebody else get further than where I am.
Right. Right.
Like, they have that saying, like, people want to see you do well, but not well.
Not well enough.
Not well
Right,
enough or
right.
not better than them.
Right. Right.
And
right.
I'm just not one of those people. So typically on my off time, I'm helping someone else.
Now, a little bit, I want to go back into this animated thing because I've heard your father talk about it, and now that you're pushing it, what is stopping you guys from finishing it? I know animation takes a lot of time and apparently a lot of money.
Yeah.
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 What is the budget? What is the budget for that?
The budget for our animated film is about $55 million.
Whoa.
So it's a pretty hefty chunk of change there.
Right. Right.
We have a couple of financiers looking at it now. A lot of interested people. We went through the trials and tribulations.
Right.
It's been worked around. We actually have the company that's going to build the trailer. They sent us a outstanding company.
Right.
Do you
have a trailer for it yet?
Not yet.
Okay.
The trailer itself costs $100,000.
Wow.
So that goes to show you what kind of hard work, dedication, and what kind of things that goes into it. It's not a cheap game.
No, it's definitely not a cheap game. Where do you see that happen? That's going to happen within 5 years. That whole thing.
I hope for it to happen within the next 2 years.
Wow.
But we give it 5 since you said the 5-year plan is in that 5-year plan.
What's the 10-year plan?
10-year plan is to be doing everything I'm doing now on a larger scale. Franchising the baby lounge daycares, the app going
Right.
close through the clothing line and every major store we could think of, but keeping it affordable for everyday working parent. I don't want to be. I have other clothing lines that we already have set up to be one of those, but
A
I want to
couture
have
line,
something.
you mean? A couture, maybe a more expensive
Yeah,
line?
more couture line. I have those,
Right.
but we want to keep this. This is the people's line.
Right.
This line does not just belong to me.
Do you see yourself retiring?
No such thing.
No.
No such thing. If I'm retiring, it's almost like me saying that I'm not working, helping the next person come up.
Right, right.
I can't retire.
What's your motto?
My motto is get right or get left.
The
The credo, the motto, it'll always be the same.
Did you trademark that?
Yes, we did.
You did.
Yeah.
Get right or get left.
Yes, we did.
Get
If you
right
go on the
or
Tesla
get-
site and you go to get right or get left, I'll come up. If you go to Groggle, I'll come up. And if you go to Groggle,
Tell my viewers what your website is.
the website is www.groggleme.com.
Spell Groggle me.
GROGLME.com. We have fluctuations of websites because we have everything to go with everything else. So we have groggleapparel.com, is GROGL apparel.com.
Right.
And we have the Groggle Me app. If you have a smartphone, you can go.
Go
You
and
can
download
get
it. And you don't even charge for that.
Absolutely free.
Well, why not? But have you guys ever thought about advertisers like a Facebook that, you know?
We've had a couple of offers, a couple of companies that came to us and said they wanted to advertise, but like I said before, you have to be truthful to yourself before you can go out there and do certain things.
But if someone's giving you money to advertise and you turned them down, why did you do that?
I feel like we're not on a level to be taking anyone's money
Wow.
to put into our business, especially when we can do it and afford to do it on our own. And now, if I couldn't afford it, I'll be sitting here saying, "Oh, make the phone call, take whatever we can get."
Right.
But you want to give the people good work. You don't want to take money from people and then there's a risk
Half-hearted.
of it's half-hearted. Because
Right.
we're in a day of world now where no one wants to take a risk.
Right. Of
So,
course.
so to
right.
pull in
Especially, yeah.
so to pull in the risk towards myself and to have people go, "Damn it, it didn't work."
Right.
I feel kind of like I want to, like I said, we haven't even been in a year.
Wow.
I want to get it all together the way it's supposed to be before we take even $1 from anyone.
How many people in your company?
It's about 5 of us right now.
Wow, wow. You're the CEO.
I'm the CEO. Steve Stansel is the COO.
So what happens when you sit down, because I know I have my own companies, what happens when you sit down with your partners and you guys got 5 different ideas?
It all boils down to me in the end.
So-
Depending on the company. Now, the daycare, it doesn't, as much as I would like it sometimes, boys, because their expertise is daycare. My expertise was the actual look of the place and the feel of the place. So we go back and forth there.
Right.
When it comes down to Groggle Me and Groggle, I make the last call. There's some times where I ask them their opinion, and I believe it works, and they go, "Nah, I don't think that's going to work." I do it anyway.
Right.
We've had great success with that,
Right.
but
On the flip side of it,
you have to take the good and the bad. You have to take that call.
Wow.
And I'm not afraid to take the call.
I am so impressed. It's been a long time that someone can impress me. And I got to tell you, from when you walked into the studio, well, after meeting your father, and your father's like, "I'm going to put Kenneth Jr. on." I'm like, okay. And then I read the press release, and then I had my people do the homework. This is one impressive young man.
Appreciate
who
it.
I sincerely think you're a Bill Gates in the making.
I hope so. I think as well, but you never know. So
Give me a
we'll
black
work.
hero of yours.
Black hero got to be Dr. Martin Luther King. Same birthday as my dad.
Huh?
He stood up against everything most people didn't believe in.
Right.
He didn't have his own island, but he had Alabama.
Politics. Let's talk about your politics.
Not heavy in the politics. I've never been. I understand it. I understand why they do some of the things they do. I don't fault anyone. I'm not one of those people that they walk around and they,
Okay, we got a call. Go ahead, caller.
Yes, hello. I would like to say hello to Mr. Greg Lassiter and also the incomparable Mr. Gerrick. This is Kenneth A. Sr.
Hi, Kenneth. How are you, sir?
I'm blessed. I'm blessed. One of the things I want to ask Gerrick is, he said, who is his hero? And I didn't really hear that. Who's your hero? I don't even know what my own son hero is.
He asked me, the question was, who
Who's
was
your black
my black hero?
Right.
And the answer was Martin Luther King would be probably at the top of the list.
Very good. That's my birthday, so yeah, you close.
Yeah, we mentioned that too. You got your plug.
Yeah. Also, I mean, Greg, I love the questioning. But Get Right is an inspiration to me today, and I just want the world to know exactly how I feel about him. without him, I feel like I would be losing a part of my own growth to be the man that I grew up to be, because he showed me that nobody's perfect, and he learned through my mistakes to be better than his own dad. And to me, I think that's a blessing.
Oh my God. You know what, Kenneth? You, when I met you, you were an inspiration to me. And now that I see Junior, I see where he got it from. You've done an extremely fabulous job when it comes to this young man.
Well, I thank you so much. But, you know, I traveled with my son, and this is I got something real quick I got to say. I got to big him up on this. I traveled to St. Kitts, the island of St. Kitts, to do a promotion with me and a couple of my friends, Veronica Kidd, who also, the People Film Festival where I met you at.
Right.
We went there to do a program, a musical program to give back to the people. And one of the things that I did notice, he was in his room with one of his buddies, hanging out, and next I came back, they giving away clothes. Just giving them away. They having conversations with people from the island and people that felt that they didn't have what he had. And these guys was giving away clothes. Like they sneakers off their feet, shirts off their back, hats off their head. I'm like, what the hell? I realized that he is really a people's person.
Right.
And I told him then and there, we didn't make no money off it, but he was like, that is cool. We went, we did what we had to do, we conquered, we saw, and the next time I ever go to St. Kitts, he told me I would be on that stage. That's the only way I could go back there, because otherwise it's a defeat for the purpose. So this guy said, even though things didn't work the way his father worked, I still would go back, yes, but I have to be in the upper echelon. I had to be on that stage giving back to those people, and it ain't going to cost a lot. As long as they feed me, get me there, I'll give them a show they never forget. And from that alone, I was like, he can go with me anywhere in the world.
Wow.
Anywhere.
Oh, wow. Kenneth, you are awesome, and I want to thank you again for calling in, and I want to thank you for this awesome guru genius you have here. He's an amazing guy.
Yeah, he's all right.
This is
Yeah, I'm waiting for some gifts, so I'm all right. He's good.
All right. Right. There's an E. Okay, we misspelled Groggle.
Groglme.
Grogl.
But that's a perfect conversational tool.
Right.
We use that all the time for branding.
So GR is actually GR.
Oglme. And the reason why I say that is because most people have a problem pronouncing it because they spell it this way.
Right.
So what they wind up going is Groggle. That's what that says.
Right. It says Groggle.
Groggle.
Do you guys own that as well?
Pretty much. pretty much. We have to get the domains and things like that. But yeah. So
my God.
It happens. But
Man.
it's awesome. It's awesome.
You know, I am like in awe. I've never been in awe of too many people. And to see a young gentleman like yourself on the move, because you remind me of how I started, that I will not stop. And my goal was to control my whole everything around me. And that seems to be your goal. Hi, how are you? Hello? Hello? You got a minute. You're on the air.
No, they told me.
Hello? I guess not. Everybody wants to hear. We don't even have enough time for everybody to even call in. But Groggle me. I love saying that. Groggle me. Groggle me.
This is what we did it for.
Groggle me.
Household name.
Spell it again.
It's Groglme.
Groggle.com.
.com. You can search it through Google.
How to get a hold of you? Your email address.
My email address is info@groggleme.com.
Right.
Everything is the same. You can find me on Facebook @Groggleme, Twitter @Groggleme, Instagram @Groggleme.
Right.
Anywhere you want to look, just Groggle me.
Groggle me.
You can Groggle me. You can go to the app and Groggle me. Hit the submission. It comes directly to me.
I'm going to be your largest Groggle after I leave the studio today, because seriously, that's my new thing. It's not even. I don't even have any cards anymore. I say Google me. Now my new thing is
Groggle me.
Groggle me. And all my Facebook followers, you know what? Groggle me.
Oh,
we want to be Groggle.
It's awesome. I love every piece of it.
Okay,
every piece. It makes the story.
One last. I'm gonna give you one last word. You can say it too. We got 1 million viewers. What are you gonna say? What are you gonna say?
Thank you.
That's it?
Thank you. They don't have to follow me. They don't have to purchase anything from me. They don't have to believe in what I believe in. They don't have to do any of the sort. That one word covers everything.
Wow. Wow. Dude, I'm sorely impressed. I want to thank everybody. Kenneth H. Jr.,
Yes,
right?
sir.
I
Yes,
want
sir.
to thank you. Kenneth
Anytime.
H. Sr., thank you. I want to thank all my viewers for watching this awesome young man. He's going to be the next Bill Gates. Trust me. And I'm going to say I interviewed him first.
Yes, sir.
You know, I'm so, brother, keep doing what you're doing.
We definitely
man.
will. We will.
We
It's
will.
not just me.
Yes, you
We-
will.
we
But you know what? You're the leader.
Yes, sir.
You're only as
Yes,
good.
sir.
Your followers only good as the leader, right?
Yes, sir.
You know. So I want to say, till next week, guys. My name is Greg Lassiter, and I want to thank my guest,
Appreciate
Kenneth
it.
H. And you can groggle him.
Yes, sir.
Groggle him.
Groggle me.
And next week, we'll be back at the same time, same channel, and I hope to be here. If not, Nat will. I'm Greg Lassiter, and this is 30 Frames a Second, and we'll see you next week.
There you go.
Groggle me.
Groggle me.
Thank you so much.
We got it together. Anytime. 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 One of the best hours of my life.
Good, I'm glad.